everybody, welcome back to another episode. Today's episode is going to be a little different because we're going to be in the kitchen and I have 3 different roasts. I've got like sirloin, I think I have bottom round and top round roast. We also have some potatoes, carrots, onion. I'm going to use beef bouillon cubes to kind of make the stock. So the first thing that we're going to do is preheat the oven to 300 degrees, and then what I went ahead and did, hang on buddy, is pulled the roasts out and put them on a sheet pan with a cooling rack thing. I put them on that and I let some of it dry out. It's been sitting out for a while. I'm going to go ahead and season that with just salt and pepper. I'm going to try and keep it really simple. We're going to start there with the oven preheated, salt and pepper this. The one thing that we're going to do is brown the meat before we put it in the roasting pan. So the next thing that we're going to do is go ahead and salt and pepper the roast. So the next thing that we're going to do after we season the meat, I'm going to come over here and take whatever root vegetables you have. Since we're using potatoes, I'm going to go ahead and give these a rinse and get ready to start cutting them up into bite-sized pieces. The carrots are already done, they're peeled and everything like that. I just grabbed a little bag of baby carrots, so that's the other thing that we're going to use. I'm over here dropping carrots. And then the onion, we're going to go ahead and cut the onion up too. We're going to cut those up into big chunks, so that way whenever you serve up the meat and everything and all the vegetables, if you don't want onion, you don't have to get it, or you can pick it out. It makes it easier for those people who don't like onions. The other alternative that you could do is use onion powder instead. It's still the flavor, but you won't have, like I said, the chunks of onion in there. So we're going to go ahead and get that done as far as the potatoes go and get that prepped and ready.
And if you want to do this, you can.
Hey, there's no snacking on the food when we're cooking, dude. I need that carrot back. He ate the carrot. Okay. And then our water is actually boiling, so if you guys want to come over here, we're going to go ahead and add the bouillon cubes. So like I said, we're going to go ahead and unwrap these little cubes. I've got, I think, 12 cups of water in there, so we're going to go ahead and do that. My little buddy over here, my little master chef over here, he's going to help me unwrap these real quick, and then we'll go ahead and drop those in. Once you get the water boiling, then you can drop the cubes in there. We're going to let those dissolve completely. So every once in a while, just check that and make sure they're getting dissolved. Stir it up. You'll feel the cubes. Once they're completely dissolved, then you can go ahead and remove that from the burner. Let it cool down a little bit. And then, so we got the vegetables all cut up. The stock or broth is done as far as the cubes have finally dissolved. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of garlic, rosemary, parsley flakes, and thyme. All of this is not like a set measurement, just go to taste. So we just got done seasoning the broth or stock, whatever you want to call it. I used a decent amount of garlic powder. I didn't really like measure it out. Like I said, just season it to taste. Used parsley flakes, which just is a garnish. You can use as much or as little as you like. Also threw a fair amount of rosemary leaves and a little bit of thyme. You don't want to give it too much time. Instead of throwing in the vegetables at the very end, I'm just going to go ahead and throw them all together and let it cook and soak up all the flavors and everything like that. So the next step that we're going to do is go ahead and brown the meat. Like I said, you only want to do a couple minutes. if that aside, just get it kind of brown on around the edges, and then we'll go ahead and get it transferred into the pot. So we're gonna go ahead and turn this on to medium high heat. Let the pan get really hot, and then I guess we can turn it up a little bit higher than that, because the idea is to just sear the outside. You don't want to like have to cook it. It's going to cook in the pot. So let the pan get hot, then go ahead and add oil, just a little bit. You don't want to add a whole bunch of oil, but then I'm also going to add a little bit of butter and let it do its thing, and we'll kind of baste it as we pan sear it, and then we'll go ahead and transfer it into the roasting pot. Like I said before, we're going to get the pan nice and hot. It's already ripping. I'm going to use a little bit of olive oil in the bottom of this pan. Throw a little bit of oil. Throw a little bit of oil in there. And then we're going to go ahead and let it kind of ripple is what you're looking for. When you throw oil in, if you ever really pay attention to oil in the bottom of like a pan like this, it just kind of ripples. When it starts to do that, then you can go ahead and throw your butter in there, and then we'll start searing the meat. Another little tip when you're doing this with like oil and butter, they say when you put butter in there, it's going to start to bubble, like you guys see in there. Once the bubbles kind of like settle down, that's when you can go ahead and start searing the meat. So go ahead and start doing that now. Another thing that when you're pan searing the meat like this, one of the things that you want to look for is check. You kind of want it to start to brown on one side. When it starts to do that, like you guys can see here, if you look, you can kind of see how it started to brown right there. That's what you're looking for when you're pan searing it. So we've got all three of the roasts browned on the outside and in the roasting pan. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is add the stock, and then add all the root vegetables and everything else that I want to put in there. Put the lid on and throw it in the oven. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do now. Okay, so the roasts are in the oven. You're gonna have to leave it in there for 2.5 hours to like 4 hours. Just check it. It depends on the size of roast that you have or the thickness. After the first hour, go ahead and open the lid, check it. If the top seems like it's dry, just grab your tongs and flip it over into the broth. If you start losing broth or stock, you can always add more. You can even use water if you need to. But just make sure it doesn't ever go below half the height of the meat, so that way it'll properly roast it. Hey everybody, so it's been probably about 3 hours, closer to 3 hours instead of 2.5, maybe a little longer than that. So like while this was finishing up, I looked up a recipe on how to do like a brown gravy using some of the stock that we had in here. And I kind of just glanced at the recipe, threw something together. I ended up doing, I don't know, probably half of a small pot of broth slowly added flour and whisked it until it kind of thickened up a little bit, not a lot. Added about maybe a cup of milk, and then threw a bouillon cube in there, one of the cubes that I used to make the broth earlier, just to give it a little bit of extra flavor because it was kind of lacking. And so now I feel like it's more of like a savory brown gravy, which is going to go good with this. Like I said, the roast is done, so we're going to go ahead and show you guys what it looks like after it's been cooked. So that's it. All the carrots, everything are going to be super tender. The onion is absolutely almost see-through, and the roasts are fork tender. So we're going to actually go ahead and shred the roast and throw it in a bowl and enjoy some delicious food. So thank you guys for watching the video. I hope you guys like it. If you guys like this kind of video, obviously like the video, hit the like button. Let me know in the comments. If you guys would like to see more of these, also let me know in the comments, you know, what videos you guys would like to see, what videos you guys don't like to see. But I hope you guys enjoy this. I know I'm fixing to enjoy it. So anyway, I'm done talking. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next one.